All right, more old man opinions, and I'm going to probably piss some people off. So let's do this. So, I'm on the second episode of Three Body Problem, and boy, do I find problems. So, before I get into the problems, let's get into what I find interesting. As I'm watching the show, I'm finding that they're using scientific principles and historical figures in this that holds my interest. Sir Thomas More, Emperor Zhang, I probably mispronounce it, but a famous dynasty in the Japanese Chinese emperors, philosopher and so forth. And Sir Thomas More, yeah, I think he was a man of all seasons. He was a statesman, philosopher, and so forth. And when their names came up, boom, okay, you grabbed my attention. The things that grabbed my attention was in the first two episodes, they have the mystery girl. And they leave it a mystery, and that's very good because, mystery creates intrigue. And they have her not on the camera, but she's on the camera. She lights the lady's cigarette. She's a mystery. You don't know exactly what's going on. And they're introducing different stuff, but it's kind of like also using junk science with the numbers in the eyes. Okay, like I could understand the female Augie when she quits. She wants to know if she's successful. So you got that tension there. Was she gonna die or whatever? She gets the verification of that test when it cuts through lasers or whatever, and it's successful, and she hits the thing, and boom, she's successful. That's what she wanted, but she wanted her life, so she waited by the last possible moment, and she shut it all down, like that weird religious lady said to her on the steps, lighting her cigarette. So she satisfied her curiosity, knowing that she was right, which is what a lot of scientists tend to do, and then saved her own life by having to stop because she said she was going to die. When the counter ends, she was going to be like, Hellspawn, you're done. So now, if there were scientists and very intrigued, they would have gone to go through Pierce, especially what was going on with them. And they didn't really do that. She went to the one guy, I can't remember his name, and she calls him childish and so forth. As the relationship packet goes, I find her calling other people childish, and she's pretty childish. And him, as a scientist, is like weak sauce. Because he shows a certain amount of ignorance that I don't normally see in people that are that intelligent to potentially have the accolades. They would be very curious why there was a Morse code, why they had this serial thing to decipher the code, why the stars were blinking. He says, well, the science fails, then it's a scam. Okay, well, if it's a scam, then how did it get pulled off? And he says he doesn't know. He kind of cops out a little bit and doesn't put a whole lot of thought into it, which I thought was really low key. The back in time in like communist China when it first started going through the revolution, and you have the motivations of the daughter of the publicly assassinated professor. You understand her solution. I find her character intriguing. And then you have the Dr. Fate game system, that brought in Sir Thomas More and the Emperor. I found it interesting that it only chose like their history of what nationality they are. Japan, English, Sir Thomas More, or whatnot. The break at Sir Thomas More, and the Japanese girl gets Emperor Jing or Zhao, And I find that tedious. And also, where's the Hispanic representation? Really, I want Quetzalcoatl. That's what I want. I want Quetzalcoatl. Anyhow, and amplify. They don't explain how the signal gets amplified by the sun. I would like a little bit of a rudimentary explanation. It just says it amplifies in the math, and communist China had a hubbub about it, but they don't really give kind of even a halfway explanation, which I was very disappointed in. On top of that, the game system, I kind of have an idea where it's going, and then the signal gets answered back in Ohio and in northeast China. Okay, only to the two places. And they put wow on there. That's actual historical event. These are actual historical events being mixed in with the story. Okay. Apparently the Chinese deciphered it, and it was, I'm a pacifist, do not send in the message, otherwise we will conquer you. And then she types in a message, I will help you conquer. We cannot save ourselves from ourselves. Basically, I Robot with Will Smith. So here's my conclusion. I've only seen two, and I've been told that once the third one goes, that's when the ball really starts rolling, and I'll like it. We'll see. I don't know if it's going to be like another Good Place, because I did like Good Place. But here's what I think it is. I don't think it's aliens at all. I think it's an alternate dimension or parallel dimension of the same people, and it is ourselves basically going to go to war with ourselves. And that's what it's going to be. If it's science-based with the numbers, only in the vision of one person and all this, it needs to be explained. And I think that they're going to use the Dr. Fate game system to explain it. But I don't think it's aliens per se. I think it's it's another multiverse kind of a story, which I find a little bit on the crap side, because I think we're kind of multiverse to death, and it's just kind of a weak element, really, in storytelling, because it could change. So, the person I think she contacted was herself in a different universe where her father lives, and the communist China didn't happen, and where she's a pacifist, not the opposite, where she's from because she saw her father die, and then was sent to a prison camp and then taken advantage of by some dude in glasses, and so forth and so on. Because it's not complete logic, it's running decisions off of emotion, because you were treated a certain way. You understand her plight to why she makes those decisions. So, in a sense, right now, after watching the 2 episodes, I'll watch the third one probably tomorrow night when I come home. But it's not good. But then again, as I said, The Good Place annoyed the hell out of me for the first 3-4 episodes, and then I became addicted to it. So we'll see. I find the science is like they have some good references, and then they shit on it, and it just irritates me. With the numbers, with the Morse code, it's mysticism, and they kind of put that in perspective a little bit with the whole Japanese emperor thing, where the lady was saying it's not founded in physics, science versus mysticism, and then the mysticism kind of won. They didn't really explain shit. It was just kind of like happenstance. Put your hand on the ground so time can move faster. Well, there's show and don't tell. Sometimes you kind of need to tell at least a little bit more, so that your audience isn't like, what the F, man? What? Anyway, I'm out of time. Not recommending right now. Have a good one.